Welcome back to the StarCraft 2 World Finals at IEM Katowice 2023. I am pleased, excited, and slightly aroused to introduce the final boss. It is Dark, the most creative and, I'd argue, exciting Zerg to watch, has the most dramatic strategies and the most dramatic effect on his opponent. And an opponent who's all about dramatic effect. I give you the Protoss player, its creator, who has destroyed his opponents to get here. A uphill battle, I'd say, for him, going into this playoff series as one of the few and the proud Protoss left over. But we'll see what he can come up with in a best-of-5 battle. Yes, Protoss versus Zerg, but I don't expect to see your cookie cutter sit back, build a few oracles, and have Dark just play defensive. He's known for infestors. He's known for Nidus, Swarm Host, and pretty much everything else. I've made this mistake before. I'm not going to mess up this build again. So what he likes is essentially whatever his opponent's expecting least. If it's Ravagers, if it's Roaches, if it's Nidus, either way, if he likes that, then you should like this video with that terrible segue into subscribing as well, because you might not have time as time goes on. Also later in the tournament, but no more of those. All right, Dark. I mean, this is how you know he takes the initiative. Almost every single time. You watch the Protoss or the Terran, especially in this matchup, you watch the Protoss player, see what flavor of build they're going to do. They're going to go Stargate for Oracles. They're going to follow up with Twilight. Dark is the only Zerg player I find myself watching his base just as much. There's already a Roach Warren on the way, which is earlier than a typical defensive Roach Warren. Usually around 4 minutes. He's got a second gas, so that implies shenanigans. What flavor? He's got Overlords just hanging out in very suspicious-looking locations. Oracles do not shoot at Overlords, much to their dismay. They just look at them very pretentiously, with their little upturned nose and their fancy lights, while the Overlord glides away, contemptuously. I'm really anthropomorphizing the tentacle balloons, but that's one of my favorite pastimes, and I'm sure many of you as well, considering my demographic. Forge. Oracle. Is he building the lair at the third? Yeah, sure, why not? Well, it's gonna be scouted immediately, but so the lair, I'm gonna pretend this is a genius move, and maybe it is. The lair adds 500 HP and +1 armor. So technically it makes it harder to kill whatever location is the lair. Now, usually that the trade-off is it's more vulnerable, because if you put it at the front, well, it can be taken out, but it's relatively cheap. 150, 100. I wouldn't put... This is something we haven't seen too much of, but just making multiple layers and multiple hives, it isn't cheap, especially... Well, the layer is definitely more cheap than the hive, but just for... Wait, what did he do? He's building a second Roach Warren. Wait, he's building a second Roach Warren at the front in a normal location. But the first... What? He has 2 Roach Warren. This is what I mean by you gotta follow along with Dark. And he's not upgrading out. Is this like a Burrow Roach Rush? Is this intentional, or did he just forget he built the first one? I think you have to go for Burrow move at this point just to maintain honor. Not that that's ever stopped him before, but... Infestation Pit. The decoy Roach Warren in case the first one goes down, just like the decoy lair for similar reasons. Why not? Well, here comes Creator. Been kind of ignoring what he's been up to on the other side. We got 3 Nexi. He's got 58 probes so far. A bit of an attack coming together, but he doesn't even have a Twilight yet. This is a fake. Okay, it is... I want you to build units and limit your economy, but I have no intentions of actually doing real damage, because there's no real follow-up here. He's not going to get anything done with a handful of Stalkers. But if there was a Warp Prism behind it and he had Blink done, then potentially some real damage. Okay, Oracle. Lifts up the Queen, clears the way for the Oracles. Doesn't get too much with them. And there's the Nidus. He's already got the infestation pit. Dark has been favoring the swarm hosts lately, especially against the ground transition. He hasn't built any swarm hosts yet. It looks like he's focused on just building up the unit count. Oh, there we are. 6 swarm hosts on the way. And now this is a real arm. This follow-up attack here. Dark only built a handful of drones in between that last push and this actual attack. He's got 14 swarm hosts in the production tab. So, a dramatic intro to this series, as Nidus, Creator knows. He knows the Nidus is somewhere, but it could be anywhere. I wouldn't put it past Dark to just build in his own base just to stress him out, but he's already got the swarm host, pops him out, ready to throw the locusts, and anytime you're not really using them is usually time wasted, as of course you want to restart that cooldown. Yep, Guardian Shield. There is no splash damage. Is he just going to click on the Nexus? Goes for the probes. They do so much damage. And very quickly, Creator has to be thinking, when do I go? Because you don't want to let this add up. Sure, he dealt with that relatively quickly and easily, but it cost Dark nothing but his initial investment in the Nidus and the Swarm Host. It's not really an option to sit back and survive these attacks, because they'll just keep coming. So far, Creator's still sitting back and building up. He's building more Immortals. He just finished Charge, an important upgrade. I believe he has a Prism somewhere. It's sitting back at the natural here. The Oracles will burn through, maybe help to get the night. That's just so many. The Locust hit by the Stasis, but there's just not that many units here. Dark using the Locust for cover for the rest of his army. Easily chewing through whatever units get close. And Creator has to another Nidus to the north. They just keep... They're gonna keep popping up. Creator has to do something. That defense is not an option. He will lose slowly or quickly, depending on how good the Swarm Hosts do, but so far they've done quite well for themselves. Dark is maxed out. He's getting a Hive. He's getting a Lurker Den. The ultimate follow-up, especially if you know you're up against a ground-based Protoss. Those ranged Lurkers are just untouchable once you get maybe double digits of them. Even with Immortals, even with Archons, it's not gonna matter. Throw a few Vipers in there, you got a stew going. A stew that the Protoss cannot swallow. And that's because they don't have mouths, but also because they don't have very much splash damage that isn't Archons. And Archons, surprisingly, well, maybe not so surprisingly, vulnerable to the Swarm Host. Oracles and an Adept working on a Nidus. They're not free. 75 apiece, I believe. I'm pretty sure that's the right amount. So each Nidus network does cost something, but it's not enough to really matter in the scheme of things. Creator has held on. He's got 3 Immortals over here. It's +2 ranged attack and +2 ground weapons for the Dark and then Creator. Lurker, Adaptive Talons is the first choice. The Lurker's speed and speed burrow. Trying to bring the Immortals out of position to the left flank. Dark swings in with the Locust to the right. He may be able to pick up the Nexus. Gonna murder all the probes and then target the Nexus. There's no saving it. It's gone. The moment Creator leaves, Dark comes in with a Locust wave. But we've seen this before, notably against Hero. A big counterattack just runs him over before the Locust can even recharge. The army supply, especially the effective army supply, is in favor of Creator. Oh, the overall army supply is not, but I'm not counting the Swarm Hosts. Well, they're doing nothing right now, but the army... Whoa! 6 Immortals caught! Roach Ravager, Locust Wave coming out. So many! He's got so many Immortals! He's got 11 Immortals, but you can't fight the Locusts. You have to let them wear themselves out, essentially. Juggling away, trying to... they're just barely fast enough to chase Immortals on creep. Dark getting outmaneuvered here. 15 more Hydras on the way. No Lurkers, though I'm not sure Lurkers are going to be the answer. Drones are pulled. Corrosive Bile doesn't find much, but zones out for now. +3 attack is on the way. Hydra's speed is about to complete. That'll help him chase down off a creep if we ever get to that point, but Creator's got his big attack coming in. Muscular Augments is done now. So Creator, not going to be able to turn and run very easily if he doesn't do critical damage here. Here comes the Locust Wave. Immortals being chased away. Drones still in front to absorb whatever shots they can. Some Hydras just completed, but so far Creator is managing this well. The Locusts are going to time out, and with them, is there enough army for Dark behind it? He throws up a corrosive bile, hits a drone. The army supply for Dark is still so high and also so misleading. Creator is on 2 bases, but we're still quite early into the game, so his main base isn't even mined out entirely yet. So this is still a very strong Immortal Archon army, but the Archons have to get juggled behind. The Blink Stalkers come in. The Hydras do so much damage, but they get the Warp Prism! The Warp Prism, which helped him reposition for so long. Another Locust Wave, and Dark overwhelms the army. It was a little closer than I thought it was going to be. But Dark eventually puts together the defenses, and with it, a victory. Still, though, the Swarm hosts such a weird calculation for both sides. Like, Creator clearly winning the fights without the Locusts, partially because there just can't be enough army supply for Dark to challenge him. But at the same time, Creator with no real options. He had to win there. He got close, but Dark eventually just overwhelms him. So game 2, Dragon Scales. A taste of things to come there. As that felt very quick for how dramatic that game was. What I mean is the maxed out armies, like +3 Hive, game ended around 12 minutes. So Dark was already sieging up that base with Swarm Hosts for almost half the match. How many is too many is the question. You got a 15, 16, which means that almost 50 army supply. It seemed like that was right on the edge. Where are you going? Wait, where are you? Is he faking it? I don't understand why this drone is here. Is he trying to... He's trying to wait out the probe. And when he sees the probe with his Overlord, he comes back to the natural and takes his hatch. But then Creator's back. Wait. Did Creator not see the drone? Oh my god. Well, he wanted to check the other side. And now Dark gets his natural. Of course, he already had a spawning pool on the way, and that's kind of the most important point of all this. And that is why he could delay his natural for that long. I'm not sure if it was a reaction to the early probe or as the intent, but Creator Omspore, a Cyber Core. Gonna see gas just... Well, there is a gas here. It just started mining, though, and I think that's what... Creator started a Zealot, but then he decided against it, as... There's going to be some time until there's a real threat. It's just the slowlings, which don't underestimate them, but also just as important, and very sagely, I will say, also don't overestimate them. Estimate them correctly the first time. That's your best bet. Like and subscribe for more wisdoms. As the slowlings... Oh, interesting. I was wondering how I was going to handle it. And I think the I assume temporary gateway wall makes a lot of sense. Doesn't cost that much. Wait for the Adept. The Adept is clearly going to be able to outmaneuver. So the slowlings have very little hope of surrounding it. And Dark just backs off. I think a nice middle-of-the-road choice from Creator here. And look at the worker count. 24 probes to 19 drones. Dark... Oh, thank God. Okay, 20. Lost a probe there because it scouted everything. Will he go for the creep tumor? Oh, no. Oh, God! No! This is actually really rough. You really don't want to lose that Adept. That was a very important Adept not to lose. Much more important than your average, like, hatch first macro game. He needs to have... That's really going to hurt his map control. And now Dark can build either lings, or he can do whatever. Because now, Creator, his options are severely limited. 2 Adepts are exponentially more dangerous than 1. Well, he's got a second one back at home now, but that really opened up a lot of space. Looks like Creator just wasn't expecting to get surrounded there. Little things. Little things. It's gonna be drones out of dark. Creator still maintains a solid worker lead. As Chrono Boost helping out a lot and going for lings and getting... Whenever you build... A lot of people don't factor this in. But whenever you build a building, whether it's a Spore Crawler, my Platinum Zerg friends, Spine Crawler, new hatch, an extractor, that kills your worker. Your worker, or did it die or get promoted? Or both? Leave a comment. But, like, when that worker becomes a hatchery, that is no longer a worker mining. So even though Zerg buildings are on paper cheaper, the cost of the worker and all the minerals it could have mined throughout its long and fulfilling life is also something to be factored in. So... And when you go for this, like, early pool, early Zerglings, and don't have that second hatch, you don't have the larva as much early on, and that's why the worker count suffers. Now you see, Doc, the injects are kicking in very clearly. There's 10 more drones on the way. Going to push them well past 50. Doesn't have a lair yet. I could have waited. Lair starts. Void Ray was the choice. I think that's partially to kill Ovis and take back a little bit of that initiative, and also partially in case of Roach or Baneling all in. Oracles can do fine, but the Void Ray gives you a bit more of a all-around option. Yeah, it's 5 more gases out of dark. He wouldn't go Mutas, would he? Technically, against a Stargate opener, they should already have that built-in counter, clearly. Like, if 6 gases out of dark, it could be anything. I keep trying to predict what Dark's going to do. He trends towards the Nidus Swarm Host, but it could be anything. And so far, he's found success, but that actually makes me think it's not going to be Nidus Swarm Host again. Stop right there, criminal drones! Well, not ideal. No second Roach War in this game. Stasis is nice, but even nicer is Dark's drone count. 69 drones completed. Roach Warren finishing. Gas in the bank and no other lair tech being built. So. Yeah. Where's the Roach speed, Dark? Or he just goes Ravager. Maybe that's why. Just huge Ravager count. Hydra Den on the way. I mean, the Void Ray does exist. At some point, you do want anti-air. Few drones down. Thank you, those watching live. Seas with the raid as we relive the most dramatic Protoss series of IEM Katowice. I think it's the most dramatic. Not that I know. Okay, I know the general idea, but I managed not to spoil myself on this one, so. Yeah, we have Dark. I'm just gonna reintroduce for everyone. We have Dark, of course. And then, warping in, Creator. Creator. Charge Lodge shutdown. Recall on 4. Okay, this is... I don't know how that Zealot got pushed out. This is one of my pet peeves. Is he just used his long cooldown recall on like 4 Zealots. And every time I see that, I think, what about the next 2 minutes when you don't have the recall? Well, we never think about that, do we, Protoss? We worry about now and those 4 Zealots. But what about this Warp Prism that's barely getting away? 2 Archons inside. If he loses that, he loses any chance to keep Dark pinned back at home. Nope. Right now, the Warp Prism is essentially anchoring Dark in at least a mild fashion. If he loses it... Oh. Okay. It wasn't Hydras in the middle of the map. What is this production tab? We got 2 Void Rays, a Disruptor, a Fleet Beacon. He's just kind of skipping the mid-game composition, whereas Dark is going for the most mid-game composition that exists, the Roach Hydra. So 4th base on the way. Will Creator survive to get to his Fleet Beacon tech? Or will Dark run him over? Why are there Archons here? Alright, Archons wandering and most of Dark's army on the other side. And the 3rd base is just going to die to Zealots, as Dark unable to transfuse it in time. Down goes. One of the Archons slurps the others into the prism. Muscular Augments is completed. Dark does not even have an infestation pit, I don't think. Oh, Stasis does protect him from the Disruptors temporarily. This is the most Protoss army. Disruptor, Void Ray, Archon. He's got all the good units, though they don't work that great together. The Disruptor's oh my god. Does he even have Overlord speed? Okay, he has Overlord speed. Disruptor shot. 8. The Octo drop. As he draws some attention. They came out of stasis right in the middle of everything. +1 air weapons done. Dark was so ready for this. He just loads up 8 Overlords of Roach Hydra. I'm not even sure this is a good idea, as he's going into a bunch of Disruptors and Charge Lots. But just gonna drop right into everything. And you can't recall these units out, I might add. Those units are kind of stuck in here. And the Void Rays come back. Small army on the right flank as well. Disruptors. Well, ow. Well, Well, this was horrible. Yeah, this was really bad. Dark. You win some, and then equally as dramatically and painfully you lose some. No, that was horrible. That was not a good idea. He's going up against Mass Void Ray. I'm not... That was more of a asking whether or not I could, rather than whether or not I should. Well, anything resembling a supply lead just got melted by a bunch of Void Rays in the most predictable possible manner. It's only +1. +2 is now finishing. Creator took the top right base, which is rarely seen, but here comes the recall. As, doesn't really matter what was recalled, as long as it's not probes. Yeah, Dark doesn't really have any runway here. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. There's no lurker den lurking. That's it. He's just got Roach Hydra, which is a unit composition that Creator is already ready to deal with. So, unless he's able to connect his Nidus network to a rabbit farm and also hit up his hat dealer so that way he can find several rabbits and pull them out of several hats, I think it's very unlikely he's going to find success in Game 2. But, as we'll repeat, it is Dark. So, the 7 Hydra counter slithering in. Disruptor shot blasts away a few. Archons hold the line. Void Rays counterattack. Another Ruptor smashes. Void Rays getting a little distracted. The Queens, at least. The Queens are the only ones who found success, but that's a usual Zerg experience. 16 Hydras on the way. All right. Meanwhile, Creator has the Noah's Ark build. We got a little bit of everything here. 3 Void Rays, 4 Disruptors, 2 Oracles, an Immortal, 3 Archons, 2 Carriers, 2 Adepts, a Warp Prism, and 8 Charge Lights. Yeah, it's quite the variety pack of things that kill Roach Hydra. The only real mistake I think Creator could make is let Dark sit back for the next 5 minutes and actually get to Hive and build that late game army. Otherwise, I don't think he's going to do that. He's maxed out. He's got the Prism. It's looking good. Dark is counterattacking with his Hydraling. Is Recall up? Yeah, Recall is available. This could be one of the weirdest space trades, though. At any point this army comes back from Creator, it's going to be more than enough. Charge lots from the left. The Queens and Hydras making a brave yet futile defense. Dark is now supply blocked even, so yeah, there we go. Alright, taps it out. We're all tied up. Either way, it feels like Dark is dictating the pace of these games. But evenly matched. I question, well, one, the Roach Hydra. Who am I to question, Dark? A guy with a microphone and a lot of gratefulness for C's rating so we could enjoy. But I do hope we see something a little more technologically advanced from Dark before Creator runs away with it. Game 3, Neo-Humanity. The most creative of the relatively uncreative maps. So, something that should benefit Creator. I think that fills you with a bit of confidence there. It's clear, this happens most of the times he plays, but it's clear that Dark just kind of throwing darts out there. Let's see. Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, golly. Interesting expansion location you got there, Dark. Is that another drone? Well, that is a proxy hatch. He's bringing another drone. So this is a golden mineral wall, except they only have 14 minerals, which is 2 trips, 7 at a time. So you can get through this with 4 trips of mining. So the probe, it's looking. Will he look for the most obvious location? So you can actually see the creep from... You can see the creep from this once the hatch finishes. From the high ground, quite easily. I don't think you can quite see the hatch, but the creep becomes very apparent. He's looking. He's looking. There's severe lack of anything on the other side. Creator, come on. Like... It's the most obvious spot, which is maybe why it's... I can't believe Creator didn't scout there first. Like, with the mineral wall behind his wall? Are you kidding me right now? No! Come on! This is... If he loses to this, I'm gonna be upset. This is one of those builds a Diamond Leaguer does on a barcode. Yeah, he knows. Yeah, he's looking for it. But the drone's mining. It only needs one more trip and the Zerglings get in. Though I think he can wall that with a pylon. No, the drone. He doesn't even need to return the minerals. He just needs to mine it. He got in. He's in. There's a Stalker, but a Stalker is much easier for Zerglings to kill than minerals. Mostly because they can't kill the minerals at all. So, the strongest building in the game. So now here we are. There's a queen. The zealot getting surrounded by a handful of lings. A handful, approximately 6. Large hands. Adept is chasing. Things are escalating. Stalker is still the temporary stand-in wall here. Pretty thankless job, to be honest. Yeah, it's one of those jobs, if you do it right, nobody comments. If you don't do it right, suddenly it's your fault. Well, 2 shield batteries. There is high ground vision with that Overlord hanging out in this big dead space area. Is he just gonna go around to the front? What a move. What a move. Dark just goes around the side. The least expected attack. Directly from the front. Dark understand. What a play. And then the Zerg, come on, Creator. Come on. Oh my god. I can't believe this worked. The most obvious yet inevitable bait and switch of all time. Well, he's not going to kill that many probes. Was it worth it? Emotionally, yes. In terms of actual damage, it's still 26 to 21 workers. It's not like Dark is ahead. It's just Creator's clearly stressing out right now. That's the only real advantage. There's a proxy pylon. Okay, adepts shading through the mineral wall. 2 adepts could completely undercut Dark's entire economy. There's no walling off against those. Oh, this is awkward. Yeah, this is very bad. Dark has no real counter to this. The queen will annoy them. This is most of his economy, of course. So there's got to be a lot more urgency. Is there enough for overcharge? If he loses the cyber core, that's no more stalkers or batteries, but there seem to be enough for now. More batteries on the backline. Dark gonna go for it. If he depowers the pylons, that could be the ticket. He's losing more drones back at home. Another volley of corrosive bile. The cyber core. I'm surprised at how much he's breaking through with minimal losses. Looks like he dealt with the adepts. I think with the help of the drones. The pylon depowers one of the... That's still a lot of Protoss units. Cybercore rebuilding. He cannot build batteries or stalker. He can only build zealots and pylons right now. Here comes Dark. It looks like he's ready to break. There's a couple pylons. He just goes for the batteries. He knocks down 3 for 1. Oh, what a deal. The corrosive bows are just breaking down all the defenses. He's gonna have to deal with the units eventually. Finally pops the shield battery overcharge. A lot of Ravagers here out of Dark. A robo on the way. Creator clearly starting to take this seriously. Well, he started a while ago, but Dark should never have gotten this far. A sentry on the way. Fires a spray and pray. Well, here come the probes. He wants to break this now. Dark has creep here now. Spray is another volley. Couple shield batteries. Another force field is okay. The corrosive biles are doing enough. Still a lot of Ravagers here. Just fires across the bow. It's definitely thinning out for Dark, but Creator has lost some probes. Not enough to matter. Oh my god. Okay. Another round of Zerglings. Maybe the last one. Good split by Creator. He's got a lot of space to work with since Dark broke down his wall. The creep keeps getting closer. Ravagers keep coming in on corrosive bow cooldown. Uses 2 force fields, but gets a Ravager. Shield battery overcharge should be ready momentarily. Goes back to mining with the probes. Adept just wandered in from the left side there. There's 14 drones left. If he eats a volley of corrosive bile, then Dark maybe can get back into it. But the Immortal. The Queen's here. Brenda! Well, it's not good. Yeah, shield battery overcharge is used. It went from a strong maybe to a probably not. Well, once again, Dark takes command of the game and proceeds to drive away with it in the wrong direction. Creator holds. It looked a little tenuous at first, but he holds it together mentally and physically. And that puts him on match point. Dark is all over the map with his builds. Gresvin. Oh, all right. Now, finally time for some real gaming. As Gresvin, our most popular map of the World Championships, by a pretty large margin. the least vetoed of any map, which is really a better way to phrase it. The least hated, not necessarily the most popular. I think that's a better way to phrase things in StarCraft in general. After 13 years of Salt. Well. Now what? Dark with a very thin but decisive victory in Game 1. Follows up with a mediocre Roach Hydra build in Game 2, and a dangerous yet impotent Proxy hatch in Game 3. And I feel like I'm right back where I started, which is trying to predict Dark's build. And I'm gonna have to put myself on repeat and say, I have no idea. We'll see. Creator is clearly just reacting here. This time, Dark does expand before his pool. So, that was also a characteristic of the last couple games, pool first. Or proxy hatch and pool. Whereas here, we're back to the hatch first. Of course, he's forced to take it at his third, which is kind of standard for any Zerg who doesn't want a proxy hatch. But back to the classics. Will Creator open Stargate? Or, well, so many Protoss will get a lead in the series and then just flip a switch. It's like, I'm going Glaive to depths now. I really hope, for Creator's sake, that isn't the case. Because I've seen that too many times. Okay, Stargate. Hero has thrown some series with it. Max Packs. We're assuming Max Packs is not Dark on another computer. We still don't know the mystery that is Max Packs, but we may never. Speculation encouraged. Alright. This is, this pylon block here, what we like to call in the business, a dick move. The second pylon, what we also like to call a super dick move. And the adept comes in, which makes it a good strategy, but also does not preclude it being a dick move. Both things are plausible. Meanwhile, Dark had some Zerglings in the base, so... Oh yeah, this is... what is happening? I feel like this is Creator taking back control of his life. Despite winning the last two games, it felt very stressful. It's like, well, I can pylon block you still, so I will. Oracle's on... Ah! Adept sneaks away with 2 HP. Oracle... You finished the Oracle, yeah. No third yet. They'll probably thinking about it momentarily. Phoenix. Follow-up. No multi-Oracle. No more Oracles for now. Third hatch, finally, for Dark. Very notably, no third Nexus even being attempted for Creator yet. Oracle finds 2. Not too much hull damage. I would much rather... a lot of Protoss really try to get every last hit and end up with the Oracle in the red, or even worse, dead. Or even worse, expelled from the game. But Creator just sliding in, getting that information, like the Spore Crow's on the way, 1 gas, no lair. That's already a lot of information. Okay, so this isn't the Adept Glaives thing. This is just a bunch of Adepts. It's just... You just built like 5 or 6 Adepts here, threatening an Adept timing. You don't need the Glaives to do damage. They're still perfectly good if they get in the mineral line. Baneling Nest for Dark. He's adding on a 4th hatchery. Looks like +1 melee is going to be the choice. This means Dark is settling in for a longer game. He's not looking to end it immediately, or at least so far it looks that way. Though the lack of a lair is also curious. +1 melee. I guess he's just been very focused on the minerals. And he hasn't. Well, you know what? I'm not here to criticize. This is an angry coach. Believe it or not, it's been a while since I've won the World Finals, so I guess not too much room to speak. But since we can see everything, we know exactly what both players are doing. I think the delayed glaives here is about an anti-timing. This is exactly the opposite of what Creator needs. He's up against what's going to be upgraded Ling Bane, and he's not hitting so quickly that Dark is going to have to choose between drones and Lings. He's already got his drones. He knows what he needs to build when he sees the Adepts, which is Lings and Banes. Where are the Adepts? Yeah, I think the sheer Adept count, Creator's intentionally hiding some of them. No, he knows. Oh yeah, that's way too many. You don't build more than 2 or 3. Dark knows. He's no longer in the dark. He is the dark. As the Adepts are just shading out from everywhere. How many does he have? He's got 17. Building as many Banelings as he can afford, which is not very many, as he's already got a lair on the way and some roaches. More Banes. All it takes is 4 or 5 connecting to really soften these up or kill him. The roach is going to be very important. Dark had 68 drones. He can afford to lose a few. In fact, he might have wanted a few less before these completed. The shade, pre-split. Oracles are also here. The drones, there's no Spore Crawler there. He could be going for the drones here. This is all before melee attack. Yeah. Well. Not to be that guy, but like I said, the Adept follow-up. Could have been better. Dark loses 0 drones. He kills all the Adepts and an Oracle, and builds 10 more drones while cleaning it up. So this certainly does not help Creator's position. As now he's going to be left with no Twilight upgrade, no basic upgrades at all. Only has Adept Glaives for Twilight upgrades, no splash damage. It appears Dark doesn't feel like killing him right now. That is my assessment. He's decided, yeah, it'd be cool, but what about Baneling drops, though? That's my prediction. Even though he doesn't have Overlord speed, he's building 8 OVs at a time. He's going to have +2 melee, which is enough to one-shot probes and 2-shot Templar. So, if we ever get that far. Right now, Creator is panicking. Oh my god, the mind games on Dark are ridiculous. Dark knows that Creator's freaking out right now. So he's just kind of chilling. Creator's here, he's not teching up, he's not getting upgrades, he's just spamming units, because he's deathly afraid of a huge counterattack out of Dark, and that counterattack is taking its sweet time. So instead of doing a hasty, as soon as possible attack, Dark has kind of waited until he has essentially everything he wants, either in production or completed. There was no sense of urgency here for Dark at all. All these Banelings complete, which is one of the weirdest chases, because there's enough sentries here that the Banelings have to run away from the Adepts, lest they get force-fielded. So, Dark's, well, if only Protoss had doors. That advanced technology is reserved for Terrans. He has a couple Ravagers. And that, oh, well, yeah, that's not good for Creator. That's a lot of Banelings. Just rolling, well, not even rolling yet. Just kind of waddling in. Whoa. It feels like Dark is just a different person in every single game. 2 games of getting slapped down, followed by an almost lazy defense into crushing Creator's army. It's all over the place right now, but it's all tied up as well. So we end back at even. Going into game 5. I don't know about the adepts. I don't like the adepts. There's no deep dive analysis either on these games. These are, if this is a tournament match, is how I'm going to summarize it. I don't think really any of these strategies you can pick up and take to the ladder in whatever terrible fashion you'd interpret them. These are clearly both players playing this best of 5 in the World Finals here, trying to get a leg up on one another and sometimes ending up slipping instead. But one more time for funsies and for drama. In the top right, the emotional Protoss looking to stay alive. It's Creator. And on the other side, mentally the complete opposite. Just such a titan, a juggernaut. So much momentum for the final boss, Dark. I don't know. I'm not going to repeat myself again, so I'll just... Some tactical hydration so I avoid saying, I have no idea. Nexus, slap down. Was this... He did early probe scout, right? Otherwise, why would Dark just take his third? Yeah. You always gotta at least look at the hatch. Every once in a while, Protoss tries, like, a later scout. I think Zest, in all his wisdom and glory, popularized the 100% of the time probe block. Before, it felt like kind of a map-dependent or even player-dependent. But over the years, Zest would just start pulling the probe at the very beginning of the game. Like, depending on the map, just to get it there and block the hatch. Occasionally against Terran as well, but the idea being just getting in front of your opponent's build, delaying them, kind of controlling the path they can go down, gives you a better opportunity to respond to it, or to manipulate it, depending on how you want to open it up. Whereas just letting a Zerg take their natural... When they take the third, that opens up a lot more opportunity for Adepts to get damage done, for an Oracle to find a spot with no creep. It's just generally difficult to consolidate your larva, because if you want to bring drones from the main to the third, that's quite a distance as well. So, how does he just get lings in, though? Like, you can't just let the lings in. Keep a probe at the wall. The lings just get in and see the Stargate, which it looked like Creator was somewhat trying to hide. Well, as it's kind of off in the corner here. Well, Adept looks like it came in, got 2 kills. He didn't lose an Adept, right? No. Okay. No losses yet for Creator. Didn't lose any probes. Didn't lose the Adept. Dark actually a little supply blocked. So, we're kind of defaulting in Game 5. I would be... It's Game 5. You're eliminated if you're out here. There's no more World Finals for you. No more underdog dream. And I think even in this tournament, Dark is an underdog. But you play whatever you're most comfortable with. Void around the way. Third Nexus. Oracle slides in. Takes what it can get, which is a couple very defenseless and innocent larvae. Murderous Protoss. But what's happening back? Okay. Adepts are there. Not enough Zerglings, just enough to keep them busy. Enough to potentially catch Adepts if Creator gets too frisky with them. Void Ray burns through the Ovi. Right before seeing the double gas. Dark keeps getting supply blocked. Wait, like, this is the most preventable. Obviously, it's gonna kill. Okay. Thankfully, Creator gonna kill some drones, which will help him get unsupply blocked earlier. Very generous. Ten drones on the way. Dark with no respect. Not worried at all. Dozen drones. What am I watching? Ah! So Creator first to notice. Adept's waiting for the fourth. Forge on the way. Robo, Twilight. All the fixins. The Robo actually before the Twilight. Which is a twist that Creator has on the follow-up here. Hero usually prefers Twilight Forge, and then the Robo is only when eventually you need either Observers or Immortals. No. Those are support drones. They're to raise morale. Or they're training to be Zerglings. I don't know. Dark isn't about efficiency. He's about mental acuity, okay? Emotional damage. As opposed to whatever the most perfect build order or efficient mechanics are. Oh my god. What? Just killed the aura. Come on. Reader clearly right on the edge of things here. Six drones down, but loses several adepts. He just lost that Oracle. We're shaping up in... They're both kind of getting everything you get in the mid-game. Robo Bay, Templar Archive, second Robo, 2 more gates, +1. On Dark side of things, we got a Baneling Nest, we got an Evo, a second Evo. +2 melee starts, Roach speed. So it's looking like Ravager Ling Bane, and then maybe eventually Infestation Pit for either Swarm Host or Hive, up against just your classic Immortal Colossus? Interesting. Alright, a couple Colossi don't hurt. They just are not the ideal against Ravager Baneling, but of course having several Colossi adds up. If he can get there safely. Couple of Adepts in the main. These feel like, if the Adepts are allowed to do damage, sure, he can kill dozens of drones, but there's nothing else happening really on the map. Dark's not going to take any damage from that, so just keeping him busy. Infestation Pit is on the way. 84 drones for Dark, which is borderline too many, especially for such a mid-game focused composition. Probably 80 to 85. Otherwise, your army is actually too small to fight the Protoss, and you'll just get crushed if they're also maxed. Charge on the way. Yeah, neither player willing to risk it. This is by far the most passive we've seen. In fact, several games have ended by this point. But here comes Dark, breaking down the rocks to the third. Does Creator have any vision of that? He can hear it. He can't technically see it. Well, now he can see it. Hive is on the way. Not bothering with Swarm Host this time. Straight up to Vipers. Adrenal glands and all that. Ultras might be on the table, depending on what the unit composition looks like in a minute or two. "26 Banelings +2 melee. Oh, what are you doing? 26 Banelings off in their own world here, which I think are about to be scouted as well. Oracles. Oh. Well. Who does this? What are you doing, Dark? Those are +2. Oh, he's distracting him on the left flank. 17 probes go down. The banelings are still chasing the Colossus. Oh my god, it's so sad. The Colossus can't do anything. They just rolled by. It didn't do enough damage to kill him. He loses 19 probes. Thermal Lance is done on the Colossi. So banelings are not light units, so they don't take bonus damage from Colossi. They just don't have that much HP, which is why you might think of them as light units. But here, very clearly showing that Colossi aren't particularly amazing against the banelings, especially if they're spread out. We've got +3 melee, +2 ranged attack. Colossus on the way. Dark still poking and prodding, looking for weakness, and Creator not showing much, but the rest of the army shows up over here. 50 Zerglings on the way. Zergling's not well known as a counter to Colossus Archon, but Dark well known as a counter to players who make any mistakes ever. More banelings. What? He killed. I believe that was a cannon? 196. It feels like it's campaign now for Creator. He's got banelings rolling in on either side, random Ravager-ling timings. All we need is like a campaign line of, the Zerg are attacking again, Hierarch. Prepare defenses. Have you heard of Solarite? Oh, run, probes, run! Oh, well, there goes the Nexus there, just to some Zerglings. Creator's gonna go over to the left flank, and guess what? Over on the right side. Ravagers looking for an opportunity. There's enough Archons to zone out. +2 missile attacks about to finish for those Ravagers, but most of the damage is being done up close and personal by the Zerglings and the Banelings. Creator feeling obligated to counterattack here. Doesn't have any more upgrades on the way. Lost one of his Nexi. Force fields mildly inconveniencing several Zerglings. That is quite a Protoss death ball, but the army supply, it's just not maxed out. Dark might be able to go for the surround. The Zerglings counterattacking into the third right now. A spray of corrosive bile. Doesn't really land, but slows things down. Another round of Banelings. Ooh, getting caught on the edge there. Loses one of the bases. Creator bashing through, but what's happening on the other side? Third base is gone. The natural, the wall is torn down. The Zerglings are in the main. Creator going for the full-on base trade against the Cracklings here. +3 melee is about to finish, so I'm not sure how relevant that's going to be. Killing another 2 of Dark Spaces. Is this an actual elimination race? We have 50 probes down, Creator down to 5, less than he started with. There's only, no, he recalls. The Nexus died. And without a Nexus, Creator has to walk back. The recall, the Zerglings killed the Nexus. He has to, there's not gonna be any buildings left. Did he get any, he's got no probes, he's got no Nexus, has not rebuilt his base and is being revealed. Dark, I'm sure has an inner smirk, if not one on his face right now, as Creator is running out of buildings. No, not like this, Creator. Dark eliminates Creator from the tournament. No GG. Because there was no time. And, in case you want to know what that looks like, yes, we do need to see. I did catch this clip live. There's no way I could do it justice without you seeing it. So...
He is continuing to pick off these units, and his army does not look like it's an
Watch
army
Creator.
that's going down
You'll
easily.
know which one Creator is if you haven't
Creator's
before.
gonna have to recall eventually, man, because these lings are +3 lings with Adrenal Glands, and he recalls half his army, but he loses the Nexus. Oh no, Creator! I think the dreams
My
are
thoughts
falling
exactly,
apart
Roddy.
here. He has
My
lost
thoughts
each
exactly.
and every single base. He has the better army, the army that could have actually won the fight straight up. But Dark says, "I'm not fighting your army, mate. I'm counterattacking," and you can see see it in the chat. Creator is devastated.
God.
He is going to lose each and every single building, and it seems that it will be Dark who's moving into the quarterfinals to meet his teammate Hero.
Every single one of these buildings, these are the last lifelines there, but Dark takes out the last building. He eliminates Creator,
Just as I
not
planned.
only from the game, but from the tournament.
That's unbelievable.
A little more
man, 'cause
difficult
that
than I
Protoss
thought.
Army was strong enough to win that game. Dark knew that. Dark realized that, and he said, "Nope, I'm not even trying. I've got a lot of lings. Lings are great. Lings are fast. Lings are mobile. I'm gonna try to get on top of all of your bases and take it from." Lings are
Oh.
fast. Lings are mobile. I'm gonna try to get on top of all of your.
It wasn't particularly easy. It wasn't the easiest series I've ever played.
Your bases and take it from there. Creator realized what was happening, but it was a split second too late. He went for the recall, but plus 3 links with Adrenal Glands. Kill a Nexus so incredibly quick, and the moment that that recall did not go off, Creator knew it. There was nothing he could do. And earlier this tournament, Tasteless mentioned the way to win a game of StarCraft 2 is to eliminate each and every single building of your opponent.
I didn't even get a
It
chance to
doesn't
say
happen
that.
often, but it happened
The
here
classic
in Game
line.
5.
Dark absolutely earning that victory there. You were talking about pressure.
I always love the
earlier on.
action
How do you
shots of
deal with
unplugging
a
the
Game
keyboard.
5, an elimination match here in the playoffs at the big tournament. Both of these players wanted to win, and that is going to be the way that you do it. Dark really showcasing that. Creator, a phenomenal player. It's going to be heartbreaking, but we know that he's still got a lot left in him. He's still impressed so many of the wonderful fans out there. We're going to be hearing from James, Zombie Grub, and I believe Loco to hear more about that series.
I've heard enough. Well, hopefully you enjoyed that roller coaster. And a roller coaster it was. That was one of the most whiplash-inducing series. Dark is a common cause of it, but he takes another one. I hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, check out this video. Not them. I hope I made your day a little bit better. See you next time. Thank you for watching. Stay chill.